The Great Gospel of John, Volume 1. First Day in Sychar, Chapter 38. At Sychar, Matthew, the former tax collector, directed by the Lord to record the Sermon on the Mount, the high priest's welcoming address to the Lord's reply, hints on life. Not only the hearing, but also the doing of my teaching brings salvation. Country breakfast. The hostess and her new husband come now, greeting me with much feeling, and asking me and all the other guests whether we are disposed to now partake of the morning meal, as it is fully prepared. But I say, Dear Erhail, wait just a little. The disciples shall soon bring over a number of additional guests, and these too shall partake of the early meal, and at the same time hear from my mouth that you two, you and Joram now, have become a duly married couple. And they are also to see that your house now does not count as one of the last, but both outwardly and inwardly, as the very first house in this city, and that I took accommodation in this house for that reason. Even as I am still saying this to the newlyweds, Peter and my John are already opening the door with Matthew entering between them, bowing deeply and saying, Lord, I am here fully ready to serve you exclusively. I have a scribe's vocation indeed by which to live and keep my small family. But if you, O Lord, have need of me, I shall let go of my office at once. Even whilst you, O Lord, shall not let my small family perish. Say I, let him who follows me not trouble himself about anything other than to stay with me in time and eternity. But behold, this house, these two owners, these shall take in your family in my name, and look after them as also yourself, whether you come by day or night. Matthew, who had already been acquainted with this house, and how it had been more of a ruin than a house, could not have been more astonished, and spoke, Lord, here a great miracle must have occurred, because the house had been a ruin, and is now a palace, the like of which there might not be too many in Jerusalem. And this truly regal set-up, this must have cost a fortune. Say I, just stop and think that with God many things are possible which seem impossible to men. Then you will easily understand how this former ruin could have been transformed into a palace. But are you well supplied with writing materials? Says Matthew, I am all right for 2 days. If I am to have more, I shall at once obtain it. Say I, it shall suffice for 10 days. After that we shall acquire more material elsewhere. Just stay with us, and partake of the morning meal with us. After 6 o'clock, however, we shall betake ourselves to the mountain. There I shall proclaim salvation to these peoples. You record everything verbatim, and in 3 chapters, and subdivide these into small verses in the style of David. Look around for another couple of scribes, however, who can copy you, so as to leave a written witness for this place. Says Matthew, Lord, your will shall be followed to the letter. After this necessary briefing of Matthew, the other disciples enter, followed by the priests and other officials of this city, and greet me with the greatest of deference. And the chief priest steps forward a little and says, Lord, You have prepared this house fittingly, that it should be worthy of accommodating you. Solomon built the temple in great splendor, so it may serve Jehovah as an abode among men. Yet men have desecrated this abode with their outrageous vices. And Jehovah left the temple and the ark, and came to us on the mount, even as you, O Lord, were in Jerusalem first, finding little acceptance in coming to us, your genuine old worshippers, and thus it shall now come to pass as written. And it shall come to pass in the last days, that the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established in the top of the mountains, and shall be exalted above the hills, and all nations shall flow unto it. And many people shall go and say, Come ye, let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, to the house of the God of Jacob. And he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For out of Zion shall go forth the law, and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. Isaiah chapter 2, verse 2 and 3. We are overjoyed indeed like a bride when her bridegroom comes in to her for the first time. Because verily, Lord, Jerusalem, the chosen city of the great King, has become evil to piss and hiss on, and is not worthy of you. We do not really deem ourselves worthy either, since what does it not take in order to be found worthy before God? Yet it is none the less true that the Lord, now having to choose between two evils, he surely will choose us, the lesser one. And this is now miraculously fulfilling itself before our eyes. You are he whom we have awaited for so long. Hence, Hosanna to you, who comes to us in the name of the Lord. Say I to the speaker. Yes, you have of a truth spoken rightly. But I also say unto you, when you hear my teaching, then absorb it, and remain active in it, for only thus shall you truly partake of the blessing, which I shall proclaim to you from the mount's summit today. Because notwithstanding that grace is bestowed upon you freely from on high, this nevertheless does not suffice. Because this does not stay if not seized actively. Just as, if standing hungrily under a fruit-laden tree, with the wind having blown down some ripe figs, will these sate you if you do not pick them up and eat them? Hence not only the hearing, but also the doing of my teaching shall bless you with the salvation going forth from Jerusalem. Do you understand this? Says the speaker, Yes, Lord, for only God can speak like you. In that case, say I thereto, since you have now grasped this, let us partake of our morning meal, but make a record for yourself after the meal, that last night I betrothed Erhael and the physician Joram, and blessed them, so that no one should henceforth take offence at them. But be seated now for this morning meal. Let it be. All sat down, and there were many partaking of the morning meal, consisting of the best milk, and bread and honey.